and welcome to Center Stage Community Podcast, where we give the community the center stage. I'm your host, Justin McCall, with my co-host, Cynthia Sanders-Mascharini.
Hey there.
Hey, Cynthia.
Hi, Justin. How are you today?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good.
Trying to stay cool.
Yep. Staying out of that heat.
Yeah, it's like 95 with a heat index of 110.
1,000.
Yeah, it probably kind of feels like that, right?
Step outside and need a shower.
Okay.
Sorry. Anyway.
Well, this is a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm excited for the podcast today,
Yeah,
though.
me too.
I'm excited for our guests.
Me too. I'm just picturing myself walking out drenched.
Yeah.
That's all I can see right now. Anyway.
It's too much. It's too hot out there.
Need to remind everybody that Center Stage Community Podcast is brought to you by InsureBoss, with 2 locations, one right next door to the busiest place in all of Chelsea, the post office, by the name of Route 66 Insurance, and also behind Harbor Coffee in Oologah by the name of Chalkline Insurance Agency. You can always come by, talk to any of us in the office, or you can call us at 918-789-3848, 918-789-3848, or look us up on the web at www.insureboss.com. That's INSURE, B as in boy, OSS.com. And remember, InsureBoss is insurance you need for the coverage that you expect.
Yes. So, Justin, before we get into our interview today,
yes, ma'am.
Our special guest, this person is somebody who's very important in our community, and he plays a vital role with our kids here in this town. I do have an insurance question for you.
Do you now?
Yes, I always do.
It's funny, during this segment, you always have an insurance question for me.
I do. So, here's my question.
Okay.
What can people do to improve the insurability of their property?
That is a great question. It's a very good question. So to improve the insurability, or if you're home shopping and you're looking for a home that will be good, that you can find a good policy for, there's several things that you can do. Number one, the biggest thing probably is updates. When I talk about updates, I mean updates on the roof, updates on your electrical system, plumbing system, HVAC. Make sure that those things have, if it's an older house, especially, we have a lot of older houses around here in Chelsea. Insurance companies, not all of them offer comprehensive policies if they haven't had updates within the last 30 to 40 years. If it's been before that, some of them offer very basic coverage, and some of them won't offer a policy at all.
Okay.
But I'll say the number one thing in Oklahoma is the roof, because our number one cause of loss is wind and hail, and that affects the roof more than anything else. So if you can find a home that either the roof is going to be updated before you buy the home, or if it is already your home where you can update the roof, you're going to be looking at getting a much better deal with your insurance company, more favorability, and also if you're shopping, you're going to find a better rate with other insurance. If your home is around 10 years old or newer, you're definitely going to find better coverage and a better rate.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that info.
Yeah, always. Well, thank you for asking. All right, guys, I'm excited to introduce our guest today. As Cynthia said, he's very well known, plays an instrumental role in our in the kids here in the community. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Mr. Tyree.
Very excited to be here. You
Tyree.
talked about the temperature outside. Last Wednesday, I left Parshall, Colorado. It was 52 degrees, and when we stopped just north of Wichita to get gas at a Casey's, it was like 96, and my dog was wanting to crawl back inside of the truck.
Take me back.
Yes.
Take me back.
We got to go back. See, I'll deal with the mosquitoes, but I want to go back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. Well, you did take a pretty significant trip, which we'll get into for sure. But we did have a couple questions for you, just kind of introducing you to people who may not know you here in Chelsea. Now you are the principal here at the high school.
Yep.
Yes, you are our high school principal here in Chelsea. What brought you to Chelsea? Because you're not from here, right?
Well, I'm from Northeast Oklahoma.
Okay.
Grew up in Pitcher, the town that Jack built, and I didn't know who this Jack guy was for my whole life until I realized, that was all the mining that we did back there in the early days. And they say at one time Pitcher was 10,000 people and had a hospital, and I just could not imagine it because, Pitcher's a town that has since been bought out. There's very few people that live there that didn't take the buyout. Chelsea is so much like Pitcher, and it's part of why I love my job. I love the community, the kids, the staff. It's just something that I feel like I'm home.
Oh yeah.
I was blessed to get the opportunity to come here when Mr. Hagabush gave me the opportunity. It was kind of a really weird way in which it came about because I needed to get some experience as a principal. And I left Commerce as a science teacher and a head boys basketball coach, and was assistant coach in high school football. And I got a job as assistant junior high principal in Guyman. And if you don't know where Guyman is, there are 3 counties in the Panhandle, and Guyman is the one in the middle. And so we're heading out there July the 6th. We've got our RV. We've bought a house out there. We've sold a house here. And we meet my oldest bonus son and his wife at Oklahoma Joe's there in Catoosa for lunch before we're heading off. And he hands my wife, when we're getting ready to leave and get in the truck, a mug that says, "You've been promoted from dog grandma to real grandma."
Oh, wow.
And this happens the day that we're heading out there. So I'm going to go out there. We're going to get ingrained into the community. My wife starts coming home in October, and she says, I don't want to be away from Hadley.
Can't do it.
And I didn't want to be away from Hadley either. And so I said, well, we'll start looking for jobs. And, Chelsea, I saw that the superintendent position was going to come open. And I knew Mr. Hagabush was a high school principal, and I figured he probably was a shoe-in for that job. So I called a buddy who was working here in the school district named Billy Willard. Billy and I go back. I've umpired a lot of baseball games for him. I knew him when he was at Welch. And I said, hey, is Hag in line to get that superintendent job? He says, yeah, I feel like he is. I said, well, I'm going to put in for his job when it comes open. You just let me know, and if you can put a word in for me, that would be great. So I think I interviewed on like a Monday, and there was like 5 people in there in the interview, and Mr. McSpadden, he was in the interview. I don't think he said a word. It was all kind of directed by the principals and Mr. Hagabush, and it was one of those ones that I walked out of it, and it was sometime Monday. I think it was like 10 o'clock because I had to drive back to Guyman, and finish out the rest of the week. And I walked out of it, and Mr. Hagabush said, hey, we're going to probably call a couple people back. We'll let you know by the end of the week. I go out and get in the car with my wife because she came with me, and we're headed back. I said, I don't know that I could have done anything better in an interview.
He's like, killed it.
I did. I walked out and I said, if I don't get this job, I don't know.
It wasn't meant to be.
I mean, I had also applied. Sequoia had a position open. Salina had a position open. Hadn't heard from either one of those. So I go back, didn't hear anything all week. The next week, I don't hear anything Monday. Tuesday, I don't hear anything. Wednesday morning, I send Billy Willard a message and say, hey, I said, it doesn't look like it's going to be in the cards. I said, I thought I had a really good interview. I was looking forward to coming and being a part of Chelsea and being a Green Dragon and getting to work with you. We had 4 lunch duties that I had to do as a junior high assistant principal. It started at 10:30.
Oh.
So at like 10:15, I get this phone call from a 789 number. And I'm like, okay, I better answer that one. I pick it up. Mr. Hagabush, he says, hey, Terry, he said, really enjoyed your enthusiasm, your experience, and just really look forward to, really enjoyed the interview that you had. And I kept waiting for, like that girl my junior year of high school that told me, hey, somebody else asked me out to prom, and so I'm going to not be able to go with you. I kept waiting to hear, but.
The letdown.
I did. He said, well, I'd like to know if you'd like to be our high school principal. And I mean, emotions overcame me. I get kind of goosebumps now thinking about it. And I'm in the library, so I go sit down, and I said, he said, well, take your time, and think about it and give me a call back. I said, Mr. Hagabush, I came to interview. If I didn't plan on taking the job, I wouldn't have went through the interview.
Hey, yeah.
And I said, I gladly accept, and I'm looking forward to it. He said, well, we got our board meeting next Monday. Can you be here? And we'll introduce you. And, I immediately called my wife, and then I went to 4 duties, and then the hardest job was going and telling the lady who was our main principal there that I was working under, because she was so awesome. I mean, she gave me my first opportunity, Lori Brooks, and I always think the world of her for that, and taught me so much about how to handle people and how to handle kids. I had to go sit down in her office and shut the door, and that was a tough conversation. But I waited until after the 4 lunch duties.
Hey, there you go. That was kind of you.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, we are so thankful that you were who they chose. I know that can't be an easy position to fill. Because it encompasses, you're not just a principal, you're so much more in the community. When you take on that role in these small rural towns, you definitely become like somebody just more than that, to the parents, to the students, to the faculty. So, and to the people that are just around here. So I'm glad that you're the one that got the job, because you've done a lot of things, implemented new things in the school. What can you tell me what it was like your first year here? It's because you've been here how many years now? How many
getting ready to
years?
start my 4th year.
Fourth year.
Wow.
Fourth
Wow.
year.
Yeah, getting ready to start
It's gone
my
by
4th
pretty
year.
fast.
Tell us a little bit about that first year.
Well, to say anything, I went home stressed out about every day. And I'd go home to my wife, and I'm like, I don't know that I'm the person for this job. And she said, you got to keep at it. And she was, she's always been my biggest supporter, and just encourages me. Mr. Hagabush, here we are, October, and it's like, I feel like I'm the high school principal at Shawshank Prison. I mean, it's like we had so many fights, and I still got a picture on my phone somewhere of some kid that wrote graffiti on a wall that says Hag was better than Tyree, and I'm going to keep that.
Word.
This happens all in that first few months. And he says, well, you've had more fights since you've been here than I had in my 4 years. I'm like, well, thank you.
That makes me feel
I feel
better.
so good. So the first year was really, really tough. And we got to about spring break. And I came back from spring break, and I decided, I'm a devout Christian, and it's just kind of given everything to the Lord, and had prayed so much, started reading the Bible daily. And it was one of those things where a peace came over me right after spring break that I don't know how to explain it other than there was a peace came over me that I knew I was where God had put me to be. I was in that ministry right there.
Yes.
And ever since then, I listen to the Bible every morning. I'm currently listening to Tara Lee Cobble and the Bible recap. And I pull into my parking spot at school. I shut everything off. I pray for my kids and my staff and everyone and just our entire community. And then I walk in. And I don't raise my voice. I've raised my voice at one kid in the 3 years I've been there. I try to have conversations, because one of the things I've always told my staff is your one moment of losing your cool with a kid will jeopardize you ever having a relationship with that kid. Because when you dehumanize them, they immediately go into defensive, and they also want to get into a power struggle with you. Yeah. So just have rational conversations. I'm like, there'll be kids that are losing their cool in my office. I'm like, Bub, I'm not screaming at you. I said, we can't have a conversation unless you just want to talk. I said, I'm trying to help you.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. So, I mean, you take an approach, like you said, treating them like humans, but you have to realize, like, they're in this transition period where they're becoming adults with kid emotions. And so that's a tough position to be in, trying to navigate that. And I think that hearing that once you decided to give it to the Lord, I mean, he appointed you for it. He will equip you and he will guide you and navigate you. And that is so amazing. And how wonderful that we have someone that is in a position like this that goes to God, goes to God for the help. And that to source, me, I mean, I've always been thankful my kids are in Chelsea. I think that my kid was probably one of those fights your first year. Bless it. I'm sorry.
It may have been.
Teenage boys.
Here's my deal is I don't judge them.
Hey, that's what he, you know what, I can, because I know that my son was in that at one point, maybe not in the fight, but part of in some way. But I think he even said to me that that guy's cool, Mom. That guy's cool. He, and you like saying, I treat them like humans, and you have to remember, if you come at them one time negative, it takes a long time to get that trust back.
You can't build that trust. And you only get them for so little a time,
you do.
And it's just one of those things you just can't do to kids.
No.
I mean, because then you don't want to embarrass them. I mean, because that's big. I mean, with kids and their friends. So, I mean, to me, that's one of the most important things you can do. And my kids, I've had kids that I've had to suspend for multiple days. And the last thing I'll usually say to them is I'll put my arm around them and hug them and tell them, I love you, but it just doesn't define you.
Ooh, that is so
And I
good.
expect you to come back, you two have learned from this, and you're going to make better decisions because I know you have the ability to.
Absolutely. I love that.
Was there a defining moment where you were going home and saying, I don't know that is there a defining moment where something just clicked, or you saw something different, or God inspired you in a way? I mean, was there a defining moment that changed everything for you?
Like I said, I think right after spring break, when I finally committed to reading my Bible on a daily, praying daily, was when I really noticed, like I said, the peace just came over me. And I literally would walk in the doors every day and it'd be like, okay, what's going to happen today? I can handle this.
He was just waiting for you to hand over the reins. He was like, hey.
And like I said, I did, and it's been a blessing, and I've loved every minute of it since. I'll see kids that graduated 3 years ago or 2 years ago. They'll see me at Jiffy Mart, Chelsea Country Mart, I think is what it's actually technically
I do it
called.
all the time.
And they'll come up to me and, hey, Mr. Tyree, how you doing? And give me hugs. And so.
No, you are making a solid, positive impact on these kids and the community. I know it. I see it. Like I said, I had a student there. He's since graduated. He actually got to graduate early, and you were one that inspired him to go and do online education. Sometimes the kids being at the school, it's not necessarily their route, and so he got to graduate early, and so that was an impact, and we appreciate that. And I'm sure, I'm not the only parent that has been affected by the impact that you're making here.
Well, if anything, you always hope to make a positive impact.
Yes.
And positive influence on everybody. And there are going to be some people that you, I mean, if you want to make everybody happy, you got to be like Nick Saban says and sell ice cream. But there are some people that are going to be upset, but that's never my intent. I only want the best what's for the kids.
Even if you are selling ice cream, you're going to make somebody mad.
Yes. You might.
And like you said, coming in, Hag's shoes were big to fill,
huge.
And I think that you have definitely stepped in and done a fantastic job. And I think that if ever you weren't to be there, that somebody would write on the walls, basically, good luck being anything near Tyree.
Well, it's very, very kind of you to say. I know that, following Mr. Hagabush has not been easy just because he's got roots here, him and his wife, and he's got family members. But the one thing that I can say about him that I can, that means the most to me is that, him being in that role as the high school principal and stepping out into the superintendent, it would have been very, very easy for him to kind of micromanage what I was doing. He's hands off.
I love that.
I make decisions at the high school, and he just allows me to do it. Now, if there's one that I think a parent might give him a phone call, I'll be like, hey, I did this.
Just so you know.
I apologize.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. Awesome.
That's pretty good that you have that kind of relationship, because there's freedom there. And if there's a lack of freedom, then it doesn't build a good atmosphere inside of the faculty.
Yep.
And for that to be the case, then that's awesome from the top down.
Yep.
Yeah.
But, so is there, you talked a little bit about, how you approach students and how you deal with them on a one-on-one basis, and then also your faculty and what you teach them and how you want everything to be expressed to the student body. Was there a leader in your life that you learned that from, or where did that come from?
Well, I think, I went through Southern Nazarene University's program, and it's a very servant leadership based. And so that was very profound in influencing me. And then Lori Brooks, like I said, when I worked with her at Guyman, I
mentored you.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
She was so awesome. I can't say enough positive things about her. I mean, she just retired this year, and I just called her up and told her congratulations. And I just want you to know what an impact you have on my leadership style.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
So,
well,
that's awesome.
Now, can you tell us about maybe not the first year, but what are some challenges that you guys are facing right now that this upcoming year going in that you're trying to tackle head on?
It's always trying to motivate kids more than anything. We started a program last year around Christmas time. I mean, a year and a half ago. So,
yeah.
I looked at a problem that we had, and there were so many kids. I mean, we're talking 60 to 70 kids that were freshmen and sophomores that was on the ineligibility list.
Wow.
Oof.
And
out of how many?
There's 60 per grade, basically. So we figure we were having basically 30 kids per grade that were appearing on this ineligibility list. And so I talked to my niece who was at Grove, and she had talked about how they had like an off-campus lunch type thing, but they allowed them to drive to it.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, the problem with that is that most of your freshmen and sophomores can't drive.
Yeah.
And so I've got to come up with a plan. So we started this No Zeros off-campus lunch. And we basically put every kid, 9 through 12, in a spreadsheet. And if a teacher has a kid that's got a 0, they basically take them off. And once a month, we'll go to, let's say we go to the Nemar Center and park there, and we talk about, tipping and how to handle situations and being respectful to waiters and things like that.
So it's a life lesson also.
And
it is
incentivizing them. Yeah.
And I've had staff members come to me and say, Mr. Tyree, that has been really, really good. Because we've went from having 60 to 70 kids total down to like 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
And going from 6 and 7 pages down to 2 pages of
well,
kids.
it affects everything when they're on the ineligibility list because it affects our sports. It affects, it's like a trickle down effect. And I think that kids sometimes don't understand that they have to do this for themselves. Like, it's not for you to get good grades for your mom. It's not for you to get good grades for, a teacher. It's for you to get good grades for yourself.
It takes so many opportunities away from them
the
future.
It does.
Because, you got that kid that we take all of our sophomores over to Northeast Tech.
Yes.
And they get to go through those programs over there. And I'm a huge advocate of our tech programs because I got 2 boys that are electricians that, well, one of them I know is making more money than I'm making. and he's a lineman.
Yeah.
But it takes so many opportunities because when I have this conversation with them, every year at the beginning of the year with my freshmen and sophomores is that, hey, we're going to take you over to sophomore showcase and you go through the diesel mechanics program and you think that'd be really, really cool when you go check it out. Well, guess what? If we don't take care of English, algebra, physical science, guess what you're taking as a junior? You're having to make up those classes as a junior. Well, VOTEC, you're going half the day.
Yeah.
Well, I can't get you graduated and be able to go to VOTEC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that we really try to get out in front of it and talk to the kids. And this No Zero off-campus lunch has been something that's just kind of benefited.
That's awesome.
So,
I love that.
They love Cane's Chicken. You know, if I take them over to Owasso and I park there,
Wow.
yes,
You're taking them all the way over there? That's
well,
cool.
we start out the first few times we're over in Claremore, and then I tell them the big one is right before Christmas or in December, and then the last one in April we'll go to Owasso, and they're able to go over to Cane's. And I say, guys, you'll catch me inside Sam's. I'm spending $1.50 for a hot dog and a drink, so, and I might throw an extra $1 for a frozen vanilla yogurt.
Hey, yeah. Well, that's a really cool thing to implement, and again, incentivizing them. And with what you were saying with the NEO, like, what an awesome thing that we in rural communities and different schools out here are able to give these kids to have those skills when they graduate. But again, it's like they got to start thinking about that freshman and sophomore year, or it's a no-go.
They do.
And I don't think that it clicks right away that, oh man. So I really appreciate that you are trying to get something for them to look forward to instead of just, being like, well, you know.
Now, a few years ago, we brought in Nabholz, which had a excavator simulator, and they just parked it out in our parking lot. And so we let our juniors and seniors go out there and go through that. We've partnered with
that is cool.
Yeah, our kids love it. I need to get a hold of them and have them come back because it's been a few years since we did it. As a matter of fact, they actually even hired a couple kids that had graduated the year before because they came up.
That's so
that
cool.
Is cool. Yeah.
And then CAMO is another organization that we send some kids there. They go through this training program because they've learned that it's easier to try to recruit some high school kids and go through that training process. And then they usually offer internships to a couple of kids at the very end of it.
Yeah. That's cool that you're partnering with those groups and bringing opportunity to people here in town too. A lot of times I think that smaller towns are forgotten, and you guys have to do a lot of work to get these programs to come in and see us as something that will be beneficial to them in the future. So
the other thing is if you're not telling your story, who is?
Oh yeah.
And so that's important. We had Fox 23 came in and did a story on our forensic science program. So I mean, it's and like I said,
and you have that we
have an aviation program. We esports, we kind of kicked it off last year and we had a team make it to, I believe it was the quarterfinals.
Oh wow!
And then we actually had an individual who won a state championship. So we've actually expanded from offering one esports classes, and now we're offering
multiple.
Two sections of it.
Wow.
My kid's in 8th. I have an 8th grader. I've got them all the way down. I've got one in kindergarten, and anyway, they're all over the place in Chelsea. So he's in 8th grade, and he cannot wait to get to the high school to be able to do this esports program. And I mean, we laughed about it. I'm like, really? Is that really something that is like a class? And there are scholarships for these kids.
Absolutely.
There's college programs. Rogers State was, didn't they win like a...
Well, and they offer that as a program. They offer esports as a program.
Oh, really?
Yes, it is.
I didn't know that.
It is. And so...
Man, how things have changed since I was in school.
They really have.
Man,
they really have. No longer can we be like, oh, you can't go anywhere with video games.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, you can't.
Wow. Well, I wish this would have been around when my son went to school because he would have ate this up. But those kids, you say it's funny about those 8th graders, they'll be leaving from, say, art to head back down to the junior high, and they'll walk past Miss Rue's esports class, and they'll hear all this commotion. They'll look in there, it's like, what the heck? They're in there playing Madden and Smash Brothers and things like that.
but you have to. That's like an elective class, right? So, is there a certain eligibility for that to be able to?
I mean, you have to. I mean, it's a competitive class. It's similar to athletics, band.
Yes.
So if you're not passing, you don't get to compete.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we kind of make that a prerequisite. If you've got to be making up some courses, we're not going to give you that as an option.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like Chelsea is getting, I mean, I feel like almost like the other bigger schools, these opportunities that they would get, we're getting here because people are advocating.
Well, we got to expose our kids.
Yeah.
If we don't expose them to things, all they're ever going to know is just the basic things that are right here in our town.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but let's expose them to things to where maybe they can reach for something else.
What other opportunities are out there for them? Yeah.
Yeah, and then grow the community through that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
It can benefit the community in more ways than one, because these kids that are doing these things, I mean, some of them are going off to college, and some of them are going and working in other places, and it's amazing how many people end up coming back.
Oh yeah.
To town, to Chelsea.
Well, how cool would it be? You know, these kids go to tech and they learn HVAC, or they learn plumbing, or they learn electrical, and then they open up a business here in Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's big.
Investing back into the community.
Invest in the community.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Well, that's awesome.
So speaking of challenges, it sounds like you like to challenge the kids, but you also like to challenge yourself, right?
Yeah,
A little bit.
Just a little bit. You got my Quandary Peak shirt on.
Tell us about your recent trip.
So, my wife, I got to blame her because she says, "Hey, I think we should go to Colorado and do a 14er." I'm like, "Okay, well, we're going to call Colorado for vacation anyway." I said, "Let's figure out which one's the best one." I bet we watched 1,000 YouTube videos of people just which ones were the easiest 14ers.
Don't
Can
they
I
make it
stop
look
you?
easier than
Oh
it
my
really
gosh.
is?
Can I stop both of you for a second? For the people that do not know what a 14er is, people like me, can you tell me? You guys talk about it and get all hyped up, and I want to know, what is it?
It is 14,000 feet above sea level or higher.
Oh, okay.
It's a mountain that's over 14,000 feet. Or 14,000
Wow.
or higher.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured it had to do with the mountain, but
Yes.
I wanted to be
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, there's no grass or any trees up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, there's not enough oxygen for them to survive.
Okay.
So we watch all these YouTube videos, and you know, in my mind, it's like where we were staying at was going to be about an hour and 15-minute drive to the trailhead of Gray's Mountain, and then you could go over and walk what's called the Saddle, which is kind of like a little dip area that takes you to another peak, which was going to add maybe a quarter of a mile. And you could have did 2 14ers, and it was Tories. So Grays and Tories was my plan all along. I watched videos, I was prepared. Well, we decided to go to, we'd been out, got there on Wednesday, Thursday, went and did a little 2.5 mile hike around the waterfall. Friday, kicked it up a little bit more and did about a 4-mile hike. Crossed the most dangerous dam I've ever crossed in my life to get there, because there was a death on this side and a lake on this side, and the road was just not very good.
Colorado has many ways of challenging
Yes, absolutely.
what
as
you
if,
got.
as
so.
if hiking wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, they take it up a notch.
They
Okay.
do. And so Saturday we decided we'd go up to Bear Lake, which is inside Rocky Mountain National Park, and we went to Nymph Lake and Hiawatha Lake, and which was the most beautiful turquoise water I've ever seen in my life, and then Dream Lake and then Emerald Lake, and along with Bear Lake. So we ended up doing about 6 miles that day, and there was some elevation to it. And so Sunday we're going to take the day off. Okay, we're going to go over to Breckenridge because it's a very dog-friendly place. We got our dog Rosie with us.
yeah.
She's a little mini Aussie and part, I don't know, Velociraptor and Tasmanian Devil. I think.
We both have Aussies.
Yeah,
we
we
both
do.
have Aussies, so I know.
She's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Well, anyway, it's very dog-friendly, and you can ride the gondola. And I thought, well, how cool that. We'll go over and we'll walk through the town. Wife can do some shopping. We'll get something to eat. Well, we're walking back to our parking spot, and I see this sign for, hey, ride the shuttle to Quandary Peak. And I start talking to this guy, and, you know, I call him Ric Flair because that's what he looked like, was Ric Flair. And there'll be plenty of people that won't understand that reference whatsoever because they're far too young,
I
probably.
do. I know what
Okay.
you're talking about.
And we're talking to him about the shuttle, and he's like, well, you know, we charge $7 per person to ride the shuttle up there, or you can pay $50 per car. And I'm like, okay, it's me and my wife. I mean, I'm not a mathematician by any means, but I know 14 is a lot cheaper than 50.
Yeah.
And so as we're talking to him, I mean, like, I'm right here and my wife is right here, and he keeps directing all of his comments towards me about how difficult it is and how you can't do it and how you shouldn't do it.
Trying to discourage you.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we got in the car, and I was so fired up. I told my wife, I said, we're coming here tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock, and we're riding that shuttle.
Challenge accepted.
And we're going to Quandary Peak, and I'm doing Quandary Peak.
Sounds a little bit like somebody wrote something on the wall that said Hag was better than Tyree.
Listen.
A little bit of a challenge, right?
Oh, yeah. Are we competitive much?
I am extremely competitive.
Challenge accepted.
Exactly. So, it says it's 3.3 miles on the trailhead. Well, they don't tell you about the other 3 to 4/10 of a mile you got to walk to get to the trailhead.
Oh, wow.
So, I start my watch on my hiking, counting my steps, how far I'm going. As soon as we get off the bus and we're getting ready to head there, I made a short video in the dark that I posted on Facebook as well about next time you hear from me, I'm going to be on top of that mountain.
Yep.
So we take off. There's a group of about 8 people, and there was a young lady, and she was struggling, and I could tell she was struggling. And she ends up bowing out. She got sick and, altitude sickness. And my wife, she gets anxiety from, like, being on the edge. Like, if I get close to an edge, one time I was sitting on a ledge that was only 10 foot down eating a sandwich, and she was freaking out at me. Like, hey, you need to back up.
Get back over here.
And so, we're walking. We get to about 12,500 feet, and I'm walking behind her because I'm going to keep her pace. And every time she needs to stop, I want to be there and support her. We get there, and she says, I don't think I can do it anymore because she's looking over the edge. Her anxiety's got the best of her. I said, well, I'm going to try to make it.
And when you're up there, and there's no trees, you are literally walking on edge of where you could look down, and there's nothing to stop you for quite a ways. No. So you do have to be for sure.
You do. Well, so I'm continuing. I'm looking at my watch, and I'm like 3.4 miles. I'm like, okay, I can see the peak ahead of me, and I can see these little bitty people up there on top of it. And I'm like, I still got to go all the way up there. So I get to, what's called a saddle, where you walk up and you're getting ready to go up the very last peak. And I'm looking up there. And by this time, I took with me a full bladder of 3 liters of water. I had 2 Gatorades. I had 3 Gatorades and 2 more bottles of water, along with some, Uncrustables and a banana, just so I'd have some snacks and things like that. And by this time, my bladder's empty, and I'm drinking, my Gatorade. And I'm looking up there, and I've got trekking poles, and it literally was 1, 2, 3. I would count to 50 and take 50 steps. I would look at my heart rate. My heart rate was right at 150. And I know my max heart rate's 220 minus MAGE, so I knew I was still good.
Yeah.
I'd say, okay, sit here and take some deep breaths until you get down to 110. And then I would take off again. And got up there on top. Amazingly, had a signal, was able to send Snapchats, take pictures, send pictures and videos. But, you're getting right there to the very end. And I can't tell you how many times it was like, okay, just turn around and go back down with your wife and head on home. And I'm like, no, Ric Flair's not going to win. I just kept going and got up there to the top. And then that group that was ahead of us, she said, hey, you made it. She said, well, I got to take your picture. Give me your phone. And I said, hang on a second. My wife made me a sign. So I get my sign out to, Quandary Peak, 2006.
That is
14,265 feet. And I sat down. Crazy thing is, I sat down and I ate my Uncrustable. I poured my last 2 bottles into the bladder so it'd be easier to drink on the way down. Ate the banana. Maybe was sitting down for 20 minutes. I get up and my thighs start cramping. And I've got to go back down because on my watch it said I'd went 4.15 miles. So I figure if I came up 4.15, I got to go down 4.15.
Oh, man.
And my thighs are just cramping. And I'm like, okay, just keep going. So I would go and I'd be trying to stretch out. And finally, I got down to that first saddle part and they quit cramping.
Yeah.
And
Believe it or not, going down can be a lot harder than going up.
Right.
Because
maybe that banana helped you.
It's slanted, and your toes and your feet, and you're trying to place them without sliding down the rocks.
I just think all of it. I mean,
takes a lot of muscle movement and strength to be able to do that. So
trekking poles, and then the rocks are sliding, and so your feet are sliding. So I got very fortunate. There was a couple right in front of me that he had been up it before, and he was directing. I don't know what the relationship was, maybe a girlfriend or a friend, I don't know, but he was telling her where to step, where the rocks wouldn't slide.
I'm watching.
And I did. I followed them all the way back down.
There you go. Well, I mean, what was the feeling when you got to the top?
You know, when you get up there, I'm like, holy cow, I'm here. But I wasn't really overcome at first. I thought, I got to take some pictures, and I kind of did a panoramic video out there. It was after I posted on Facebook, and I started reading comments about, basically my picture was, I made it.
Yeah.
And people had started commenting on there, and I got overcome with emotion. It was so similar to, the first hike my wife and I ever did in 2017 when we hiked to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, Phantom Ranch, and then we hiked out, in 3 days, and we get to the top. I never forget looking down at the Grand Canyon, and I'm like, I've been down there to the very bottom of it. There's only 6%.
Wow.
That have ever been there and back, and I'm one of those.
Wow.
And so I just was, it's kind of one of those surreal moments where you just kind of get overcome with emotion.
Yep.
Wow. I love that.
I certainly understand that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't you recently run a race too?
Once again, I got to blame my wife for this. She says, hey, let's run this 5K for the Tulsa Zoo. I think it was raising money for the Tulsa Zoo, and so we'd go to the Claremore Lake. Well, we measured how far it would be for us to go to one spot from the Claremore Lake and then back to our vehicle. And first time I did it, I'm like, I'm going a full mile, and then the next time I did it, it's like, okay, you went 1.6, just walk. Well, no, I just turned around and just kept on going. And okay, when you get to the bridge, you only got like a half mile left. Just walk that. No, just keep on going. And it was one of those things, because I'll be perfectly honest, running hurts.
Yeah.
Hiking hurts, but it's like, how much are you willing to overcome and not give in to that voice in your head?
Yes.
Because I tell kids all the time, the person who says they can and the person that says they can't are both right.
I know.
And which one do you want to be?
I like that.
And that is so encouraging for the kids. And you set this example.
Very much, yeah.
If someone that is pushing them isn't willing to push themselves, how can they respect that? But I think that's how they respect you, is because you are not willing to say no.
It's not believable, right? Unless you see it in that person's life, and you're like, wow.
Oh, they can say, well, Tyree did it.
Yeah.
Tyree did it. I can do it too.
Yeah.
And just sharing your experience with them. I mean, I can't wait to see. Maybe next summer we've got pictures of other kids going up there, because you just inspired them
that would be
to
awesome.
do it.
Yeah.
I mean, how cool is that?
I'm 53 in a 70-year-old body, but a 25-year-old's mind, I think. I think I can do that.
There you go.
Don't tell him he can't do it, because he will do it.
Hey, students, if you want him to do something, tell him he can't.
There you go.
We'll find out how many people watch this podcast.
Maybe.
We're going to put this in the shorts on the Facebook page, so everybody will be able to see that.
Yes.
So not only are you the high school principal, but you're also a mountain climber.
Yep.
I guess.
And a racer. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know. We use that term race very loosely.
Very loosely.
You finished, right?
I did, and my goal was to do it in 40 minutes, and I think I got it in like 38.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: when you start running, or even when you've been running for a long time, I mean, you do have goals and accomplishments that you want to do. But here's the thing: is that when you race, you are racing yourself. And if you get better, you get better, and that's enough of a goal to celebrate whenever you are racing. Yeah. So
I think Ray Lewis, one of his statements is, "It's always you versus you."
Yes, there you go. Yeah.
Ooh,
yeah,
yes.
That's awesome.
Wow,
that's amazing. So
that is a great way to segue into my other, I have another question for you. Now, what are your reasons for wanting to stay in this community?
Oh, why is there a reason not to be? I mean, it's a great community. I love our staff. I love our kids. I'm so blessed and so thankful to get to wake up every day and get to come and do the job I do. I at the end of the year, I get to see the culmination of everything that has happened in Mrs. McSpadden's building, that's happened in Mrs. Wilcutt and Dr. Morgan and Mrs. Wilson. Everything that's happened in all those buildings come to a culmination to me at the high school. Yeah, they do. And we celebrate them about the third weekend of May. And when those kids come across the stage and they hear their name and they hand me an autographed golf ball, and there were 41 kids that walked across the stage last year. 41 kids handed me an autographed golf ball, and 41 kids gave me a hug. Yeah. And I told them how proud I was of them.
So so you said 41 kids. Now, how many seniors did you have? I
think we had closer to 47. There were some online kids, plus there were some kids who just chose not to walk. But and this was one of our smaller classes. Now, the ones coming up, I think we're sitting right 58, 59, 62. So we're right around this. This was a smaller class, but that is probably the most encouraging thing, and just it's something that I look forward to, getting to take them down, and when they do their walk through Longfellow and they do their walk through Art Goad, and we do our senior walk, and then I go out and I get to practice with them, and I get to spend this intimate time with them. Where maybe I don't necessarily have the principal hat on, I have the hat on that, hey, I'm here to celebrate.
Mentor.
Yes. I get to celebrate this moment with you.
Absolutely.
And that is something that I don't take for granted, and something I look forward to every year. I can't wait to get this year's seniors when they go through.
Is this your freshman kids
this
started
is my
with
freshman,
you?
So these kids are.
Ooh, I got goosebumps. Wow. How exciting!
Yeah. Very exciting. These kids have only known me
since
they
day
don't know
one.
Where their hag's better.
Yeah, hey. Listen,
that's awesome.
But I'm looking forward to them, and they'll be in my office stealing candy every day, or they'll be putting OSU stuff in my office.
They do. They pick on him. They do. They pick on him.
And they're motivated by Sydney Cox. She's an OSU person.
Listen, Miss Sydney is one of my favorite people.
Well, I tell everybody, she's like my little sister.
She's ornery.
I can be mean to her, but by God, you better not be.
Yes. Well, I think it's really cool that this year is the year that you get to go in and you get to see these kids that started with you, and they're going to graduate, and it's like you made it through 4 years, and we want you to keep going. Yeah. Don't end at the 4 years. Just keep going. Stay with Chelsea for sure. Yeah. Because we're grateful for the impact that you're making on the students, and you're making school fun again. You're making school fun again. And that's kind of where I think sometimes it's hard for these kids. They come and they're like, oh man, I'm made to go to school. Yeah. I have to go to school, when you want them to be like, I can't wait to go to school. Yeah. I get to go to school.
Especially coming out of COVID and everything. I mean, that just complicated things even more.
Yeah, it really did.
Because you didn't know who was going to be next to you the next day. They may be gone for 15 days.
Yes.
It was rough as a teacher for me in commerce, trying to teach science and get through, all your objectives and everything. But it's one of those things we've had to overcome. It's happened. We've learned from it. Well, let's go have school. You know? And I think sometimes we go through elementary and we have fun and we have some parties and we have things like that. But then we go to middle school where, we don't like each other because of the shoes you have on today. And then we come to high school and we kind of find our groups. But there are times when we need to put a little bit more elementary in the high school level.
I love that. Yeah,
so
for sure.
We try to have some fun.
I think that I've noticed that, I mean, and this is just probably because I know several teachers in different capacities, and different, like the elementary, the middle school, and everything. But you guys all seem to work very well together. And I mean, even on a middle school level, the kids. My husband is a substitute, so he gets to go and sub at. He hasn't at the elementary, but the junior high and the high school, and he just really loves it. And he said even the junior high, like you go in there and they're starting to have fun and enjoy themselves. And so you guys are all working together to provide that for them, and we appreciate it as parents. But I think that even the faculty appreciates that because it makes it fun for them too. What sort of staffing challenges do you guys face here?
Sometimes we have a hard time finding people who are certified in maybe a specific area that we need. But one of the things that Mr. Hagabush believes, and I think it started before with Mr. McSpadden, was we're going to hire good people and put them in the spot that we need to put them in.
Yeah.
And so I've had the freedom and the luxury to find some good people and put them in there. I'd put that high school staff up against anybody. Yeah. They're awesome. They work together. They care about kids. That's the one thing that I've noticed. I've been at some schools in Missouri. I've been at some schools in Oklahoma. Our kids at Chelsea, our staff takes care of our kids.
They care.
They care about those kids because we have kids that it doesn't take. We'll send out an email about a kid maybe not having some food, needing a coat, needing something other, and it is taken care of like that.
They band together.
They do. So that is something that I don't know that I've experienced anywhere I've been. But it does remind me a lot of Pitcher because that's how.
It's that small. It's that community. That is the. And I in my interview talked about that you don't. I've never felt that sense of care and like I got your back. Chelsea people here in this town, they've got each other's back when push comes to shove. They are right there to help their own, and they also welcome new people. I mean, none of us are from Chelsea. So, and we've all been welcomed by the people here in Chelsea. So it's really cool.
I felt very accepted, ever since I've been here. I love our homecomings. I mean, that's something that's awesome about a small school. I think my first year we did it during the day, and then we petitioned the city council and was able to block off part of the, Highway 28, and then had an evening parade. We've had that the last 2 years, and the people that come out.
Yeah, they love to be able to do it. It was so hard as a working mom to be able to try to get out here to be there for those things. And so when you did it in the evening, it's made it so nice. And people that don't even have students there, they just want to support the community.
They can be a part of it.
Exactly. So and that's 100%, I think, A-okay with me. Evening homecoming parade. We love it.
As long as I'm there and we can keep it going, that's what we're going to plan on doing, because I just love seeing the community come out and rally around our kids.
They do. They really do. Is that something that you feel like you have the backing of the community here?
Absolutely. 100%.
That was going to be my next question, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, very good.
Great minds.
That's right.
I think, the community here supports that. They support pretty much any endeavor that we do at the school. If you've ever come to, the carnival, school carnival.
Yes.
It's had up at the high school, and that place is packed. And we may do it from 5 to 8, and I'm having to shut off lights and lock doors at 9:30 and 10 o'clock. Because they just love coming and being part of the community.
And they want to hang out.
They do.
Well, honestly, though, there's not very many venues to do that here in town. So when there's an opportunity, whether it be through the school or whatever, people show up. And that's the awesome thing. That's one thing that I like about this community. Is that they do show up.
I don't know what the 4th of July thing was like because I was out of town then, but I bet it was packed.
Yeah, there was
because the first year I came here, it was packed.
It was, and the chamber, I mean, they provided that for the kids, the rides and stuff. It was all free.
For free,
It was all free. And then, I know that people might not have liked that there weren't food trucks, but I loved that there weren't because all of the money when it came to food went to our fire department. And I think that was pretty awesome. That was genius. keep it that way.
So, I think the police department gave away some bikes.
They did.
And then, the fire department does this water wars thing.
If you haven't seen that video, make sure you go back and watch the one with Chief Dickinson, because that one is awesome.
Yes, the fire chief. Listen, we got him coming next. We got him coming to speak with us, and I look forward every year to water wars because, I'm competitive too, but I love throwing things at Craig.
Boomer Sooner. This is what I got to say for Craig. Boomer Sooner. I know he's a huge Shorthorn fan, and I'll get my jab in now before he comes on.
There you go, before he comes on. Yeah. Well, how awesome. Wonderful.
This is good.
We love giving our community members the opportunity to share who they are and why they're here and what they're doing. And everything you have said today just solidifies what we have talked about for this platform is just celebrating community, celebrating the heart of Chelsea. And, you're not from here, but you are here now, and you are part of us.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you so much and the work you're doing. And I can't wait to see what else you're going to do. And maybe I'll see you out giving rides to kids having lunch someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, our former resource officer, Deputy Gorham, saw us over at Reeser's one time and came up and talked to us. So, Mr. Hagabush, as our leaders, he believes in setting the standard for excellence. And so he challenges our leadership to make sure that we work together to do that.
Yeah.
And that just trickles down. Our staffs just embrace it. So it's something that we're only going to get better.
Yeah, you are.
That's awesome.
So.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Wow.
This has been a really good one,
Yeah.
Mr. Tyree. So, thank you so much for coming on and
Thank you
sharing
so
your
much for
heart
having me.
Yeah. And expressing it all to the community. And I knew this was going to be a good one, but I'm really surprised about how good of a conversation this really was.
I'm not surprised at all. I was really excited. I was excited to hear. I always want to know what's going on up there at the high school, and I knew because I've heard from students that they just love him. So I was like,
that's awesome.
I knew.
That is awesome.
That's awesome.
Comes in my heart.
Yeah.
You can tell it affects him, and that's really good. And to have him in that position, and the students are in good hands. So
thank you guys.
So well, thank you, Mr. Tyree. Again, thank you so much. Looking forward to getting this out to the community. And remember, community, that Center Stage Community Podcast is where we give you the center stage.
Yep. Well, that's a wrap.